Welcome to another episode of Wealth Beyond Numbers. I'm your host, Dennis Coral, and this is our last episode with Eric Gros-Dubois, and we would like to make it fun, and you share so much knowledge, Eric. Thank you so much. But talk about some of the things that drive you crazy. In my practice, for example, when we're close to April 15, that's the deadline to make retirement contributions. And that's something that frustrates Jonathan. He's our operations manager in my practice, and he's always collecting checks or collecting deposits for clients to make it at the very last. And although we tell clients, hey, you want to make your retirement contributions to your 401k, to your IRA, it always comes down to having clients do it or remembering that they have to do it on April 15 or April 14, and it drives us crazy, but we do it for clients. So I'm sure that you have in your practice things that drive you crazy or that clients do. Can you share some of them? I mean, I can think of people not following your direction or not signing contracts. You said that before, but
sure.
Are there other things?
I mean, it's funny. Yes, putting things off to the last minute is really, I'll get the call on Thursday night and they'll be like, hey, can you have this done for me tomorrow? I'm like, guy, and first of all, do you think we're all just sitting around with nothing to do, waiting for your call? No, and that's not realistic and it's not fair. And truthfully, I have lots of clients. We have lots of projects. We have to budget our time and schedule our workflow. So putting things off to the last minute. And by the way, not only is it not fair, it's not fair to the client because the client's not going to get my best services. They're not going to get our fine attention to detail. And on a certain level, we're saying no. We're saying no. I'm so sorry. Like, if you want to go find the guy that's sitting around with nothing to do. First of all, are you sure you want that guy to be your lawyer? Are you sure that's the type of lawyer you want? Like, I tell you what, I want my lawyer to be super busy. I want my lawyer to be in demand. I want my lawyer to have lots of clients and hopefully when they can make the time for me, then to give me their undivided attention and to do their best work for me. So, unfortunately, I'll give a little pet peeve. The clients that think they're smarter than us because of ChatGPT or because of the internet. I'm all for doing your research. I'm all for being educated. I'm all for looking things up yourself and to come prepared to ask good questions. But don't think that makes you smarter than the professional. I think it's insulting. And just remember something. ChatGPT didn't go to law school. ChatGPT hasn't been in practice for 17 years and has those different stories and the experiences that I have, right? And I'm just one person. I think collectively at my firm, we have a couple hundred years of legal experience. If you add up all the years of everybody from my paralegals to my attorneys. So, I have the client that says, hey, I had ChatGPT write this motion. Can you just go ahead and file it? And that way you won't have to bill me very much. And I just tell them, no, I'm so sorry. And if you, first of all, it's malpractice. And second of all, if there's a lawyer out there that's willing to do it, I'm not sure that's the guy you want to be your lawyer. And our friend Chris Colston would always say that people are always stepping over dollars to pick up pennies, and people, they're doing these silly things. Another pet peeve of mine, and this is probably the worst of them all, is not having a lawyer review the agreement before you sign and before you make a substantial financial investment. I told a story on the last podcast. They invested $500,000, and let me tell just a little bit more about this story. So, a friend of a friend had made a bunch of money, allegedly, okay? So they came with a good recommendation. Like my friend made a bunch of money. So they were gonna invest in a real estate fund that was flipping houses in the Maryland area, okay? So they get this contract. The contract is 2.5 pages. The names of the parties are inconsistent on the contract itself. The contract looks like it was drafted by a 3-year-old. It just doesn't even read well. It doesn't look like a properly formatted agreement. It doesn't have any dispute resolution language. It doesn't have any of the things that you would want to protect you if everything goes wrong, right? And that seems to be my mantra a lot is if everything goes wrong and you would be mad, then you should invest in having a good agreement. And so, of course, these people don't do any of the due diligence. They don't do any of the homework. They don't talk to a lawyer like me to maybe even say, hey, maybe we can revise this contract and make it more to protect you. But even better, I did 5 minutes of free internet research and found out that the people that they were investing with had been sued for fraud 10 or 15 times already. And by the way, I'm not a rocket scientist, and I'm using free internet research, guys. I'm not using some special tool. It's not like some special thing that only lawyers have access to. I was using Google. I was using Google, and then I can add one to it. And by the way, here's just a free tip. Every county in America, and I'm going to say this with 96% confidence, because every county I've ever encountered in America has their own court website. On that court website, you can look up civil pleadings and you can look up civil cases. So if you know you're doing business with Dennis Corll, maybe I'm going to search in Miami-Dade County Civil Search. And by the way, just go to Google and type in Miami-Dade Civil Case Search. Or maybe he's got some things that happened in Broward. If the name is really unique, maybe it'll be easier. But basically, I knew that these people were in Orlando, so that's Orange County, Florida. So I did Orange County, Florida Civil Case Search. I searched their name. I then, every state that I'm aware of, again, I'm saying this with 96% confidence, has a state registry of companies that is publicly available that you can just go. In Florida, it's called Sunbiz, but every state has one. So if you don't know what it's called, you just type it in. Georgia Company Search, Texas Company Search, right? And they'll have a state website. You go on the state website, you navigate it, you search the company. A lot of times you can search by the names of the managers or the officers or directors like you can in Florida. You can't in Delaware or Wyoming. That's a different conversation. Anyways, you search these people and then you can and then by the way, you become a detective. Then you're like, okay, what are these other names? Oh, who are these other 3 people on this filing? Let's look up them. And then you can start to like put this together. Well, guess what? This is what you should do before you give them $500,000.
Not after.
Not after, right? Because now there's only, and actually the story gets worse, not better. So they then hire me to send some demand letters because, by the way, they were doing all the communication over WhatsApp. The guy that I'm investing $500,000 with, I guess I want to WhatsApp with him, but I'm kind of hoping he's a little bit more professional than just a WhatsApp. So he stops responding. He ghosts them. So now we try to track down, and now I'm doing all this due diligence. I'm like, all right, I'm making a list of all these different addresses, all these different companies that I think are affiliated. I find all these lawsuits. So now we're sending demand letters. All of the certified mail is getting sent, rejected, right? We can't find it. So the client gets frustrated with me because now we can't serve the demand letter on the bad guy. Again, they're frustrated with me. Come back in 6 months, we'll see if something changes. So I don't hear from them. I decide, just because it was scratching the back of my head, I decide to go and do a search again. I find new lawsuits against the bad guys in Orange County, Florida. And then in the lawsuit, because you can look at the docket online, there was a suggestion of bankruptcy filed.
Wow.
Which means that the bad guys filed for bankruptcy. Which means now that all creditors have to pursue their claims not through regular court, you pursue it through the bankruptcy. Well, here's the thing. There's a window that you can then object to the bankruptcy if you think there's fraud, because fraud doesn't get discharged in bankruptcy. So if like, let's say you're suing someone for fraud and they file for bankruptcy, you can go to the bankruptcy judge and say, this is fraud. And if the judge agrees with you, then they remove it from the bankruptcy and then you can pursue your lawsuit, okay? You know how long that window is? 60 days. So my client, I call him and I said, hey, how you doing? I know we decided to put this aside for 6 months. I decided to do some just poking around. Here's what I found. They go, oh yeah, we got a letter in the mail 2 or 3 months ago. I'm like, from what? They're like, from the bankruptcy court. They're like, we just decided to ignore it. I'm like, and you didn't call me? And you didn't call me with the letter for me to say, hey, look, it says right there, you have 60 days to object. And so now they missed the window. They can no longer object. And now that all they can do is just put their name in with the rest of all the unsecured creditors and hope that they get pennies on the dollar. And it's just like, this story is a comedy of errors. And there's the worst part. I thought they were sophisticated. I thought they were business people, right? So, I mean, free advice, don't ignore mail from the government. Don't ignore mail from the IRS. Don't ignore mail from the bankruptcy court. And
it's not going to go away.
No, it's not going to go away. And not only that, you might miss deadlines that you do not have a chance. And if they had just called me, Eric, we got this letter. I'm like, hey, can you take a picture with your phone and text it to me? And then I said, like, okay, we got 30 days. We got to do something if you want. And now we can't.
You know, that's more common than you imagine.
Oh, I know. And by the way, the letter, so you will never, ever, ever get a phone call or an email from the IRS, but you will get mail. So if you get a phone call or an email, it's a scam. It's coming from Nigeria or Malaysia or South Korea. If it's a letter, it probably has deadlines in it that you should not ignore.
I agree, 1,000%. Are there any other tips that you would like to share to business owners as a general?
Sure. Can I talk about a book I just read?
Please.
Okay, so Deirdre, my wife, who's been a guest on this podcast, she's a business owner, and one of the things that we really like to do is go on road trips. And when we go on road trips, we listen to business books, and we listen to Buy Back Your Time. And what I love about a lot of these business books is I kind of actually think I know what I'm doing. And so I'm listening to these books and they're like, you should do this. And I'm like, I already am. And so the first piece of advice was that every professional should have an executive assistant. And I was like, I already do. Her name is Stephanie, and Stephanie's fantastic. Buy Back Your Time, it really spoke to me. One of the lessons was at the entry level for every worker / business owner, no matter what, is we are selling time for money. We're selling our time for money. Your workers are selling their time for money. To then take it to the next level, you need to start buying back your time, which the way they describe it is you need to start paying people to do the easy things that you shouldn't be doing anymore. And the classic example is I can do my own bookkeeping, but it might take me 7 hours. I think my time is worth $500 an hour. So 7 times 5, that's $3,500. I can pay a bookkeeper $150 to do the same work. Right? So it makes no sense for me to do it unless, and I always think of my father. My father loved gardening, and sure, he could have paid a landscaping company to do it for him, but he actually loved it. So that doesn't count. If it's something you love and you get enjoyment out of, then you can keep doing it. But I don't know that many business owners that like bookkeeping.
No, and I think it's a hassle. And then if something goes south, then they have to answer to their accountant, and it just doesn't make any sense. Focus on what you do best at, and then just improve on that. I even tell that to my son. I mean, I'm finding that he's good at certain things, and instead of trying to help him be good at everything, I'm trying to hone in on the things that he's good at. He's good at math, he's good at tennis, he's good at martial arts. So I'm helping him hone in on those. And he's not great in religion, he's not great at history, but if he's good at the other things, let's just hone in on those things and then
play to your strengths. And as a manager and as a leader, which, by the way, are two different things. And sometimes you got to be a manager and sometimes you got to be a leader. I'm always looking to put people in a position to succeed, to remove obstacles that would slow them down or hold them back, and to decide who needs coaching, who needs training, and who maybe has hit their ceiling, and then deciding whether their ceiling is good enough for me to keep them on the team.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Eric. This has been great. I hope you enjoy this as much as I have.
Yeah. So can I leave with one thing?
Please.
Don't invest $500,000 on a 2-page piece of a contract without talking to your lawyer. Just call your lawyer. And if you don't have a lawyer, get one.
Yeah, I agree 1,000%. It's actually the same reasons why people leave their lawyers. It's the same reason why people leave their financial advisors. So I'm in the same position as you are, that I'm not the first financial advisor that someone's hired. A lot of our clients come to us because now they're at a different stage in their life. They already accumulated assets. They already have their wealth. They just want to work with somebody that is trustworthy, knowledgeable. It's going to help them move on to their next stage in their life, which is transition to retirement. So they want to have the peace of mind knowing that their money is protected, they're growing, but they're getting the advice and guidance on things that we're talking about, just like that.
If I could ask you, if you had a magic wand and you could retire today, where would you go?
I plan to do what I do until I stop loving what I do. Okay. So I don't see myself retiring. So I really would consider having 2 homes and traveling between both. And if I could have my magic wand, like you said, I'll have my son take over.
There you go.
Yeah.
And that is always the dream, especially if we can build something that's got value, and then if we can inspire the next generation to come follow in our footsteps.
Yeah. He's actually, my son, he actually does the birthday cards that I send to clients. He's the one that actually prepares them and sends them out. So I'm grooming him little by little. And it's fun to see that. It's really fun to see that.
That's great.
Thank you so much, Eric.
Thank you, Dennis.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of Wealth Beyond Numbers with Eric Gros-Dubois. He shares so much information that I hope you enjoyed. I'm your host, Dennis Coral from Coral Wealth Management. And as we like to say at our company, retirement and financial confidence starts here. Thank you.